That's your forecast from the Surf Pickleball and Kitchen on WSIC. Meteorologist Chase Myers.
Looking for the perfect way to spend a spring Saturday? Make it WSIC's Family Fest, May 2nd from 7 to 2 at Purple Heart Homes in Statesville. It's more than just great deals, it's live music, local food, family fun, and a chance to give back. A portion of proceeds supports Purple Heart Homes and their mission to serve veterans with safe housing. Bring the kids, bring your friends, and enjoy a day that truly means something. Visit WSICnews.com for details.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
I want to see the kind of industries that are opening up.
This is Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. Local Biz Now.
You have to determine what is working, what isn't working.
Joe Vagnone is a respected business broker, helping individuals buy and sell businesses. Joe has successfully owned and operated many companies in a variety of industries. This is Local Biz Now. Biz Now, because your business matters.
You are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina. I am Joe Vagnone, and this is Local Biz Now, where your business matters. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because that's what we do here at WSIC. This month's special host is the woman behind the mantra, "Don't dream it, live it." A relentless champion of people who are ready to stop talking about their goals and finally step into them. She has built a reputation and a contagious belief that everyday conversations and ordinary people can create extraordinary lives. Co-founded Monkeys in Hats, a digital website development company serving clients across the United States and internationally. Founder of Top Notch Nail Files, and turned it into an international e-commerce brand shipping patented glass nails around the world. Award-winning speaker who has created programs such as Achieving the Life of Your Dreams, When You Get Knocked Down, How to Get Back Up, and many more. Today, she brings the same energy, excitement, and authenticity to this show. So lean in, take a breath, get ready to be challenged, encouraged, and inspired as we welcome our special host who doesn't just talk about possibilities, she lives them. Colleen's community impact is as impressive as her personal life. Named one of top women in business for extraordinary community leadership, give a warm welcome and lots of respect to my friend, even if she won't admit it. Our special host for this month, one of the most impressive people I know, Colleen Lloyd-Roberts. Colleen, take it away.
Joe, that was fantastic. I'm not saying ChatGPT and a bottle of scotch didn't help you write that, but for some reason, I sort of feel like they did. And so let's give them a producer credit. Joe's bottle of scotch and ChatGPT for that beautiful introduction, Joe. Thank you so much. And I love that you called me your friend. I never thought I would hear the day. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I am really excited today. I got a question for all of you out there listening, watching us on Facebook. Welcome to all our Facebook listeners. Have you ever watched somebody quietly begin to shift, or something quietly begin to shift, like a sport, an industry, a hobby, like where it once felt like really out of touch and really out of reach, or it just felt really reserved for a select few. And it started to open up a whole new way. Like now something you dreamed of all of a sudden is touchable. It's within reach. It's doable. That's because at one point, a new energy stepped in, new perspectives took hold and started questioning old beliefs and patterns. And before anyone knew it, that space, that sport, that industry began to evolve. For a really long time, sailing, especially racing, was completely male-dominated. But today, women are not just participating, they're leading, they're racing, they're buying boats, they're crossing oceans, they're building communities. This is happening globally right now in the qualifying races of the famous America's Cup. But most importantly, it's happening right here in our backyard, in our own Lake Norman. Sailing is alive, so slow your engines, you power boaters, because there are about to be a lot more sailors on Lake Norman. And today, I have the absolute honor of sitting down with 3 of the most incredible sailors on the lake who are leading the charge. We have Smita Quinn, who is the founder of Lake Norman Community Sailing. We have Kasia Fthenos, the new director of Lake Norman Community Sailing. Her boxes are not even unpacked yet in her house. That's how fresh new she is. And Treez Decker. She is the Commodore of the South Atlantic Yacht Racing Association. They are all with me right here around this table today. Ladies, thank you for joining me. You guys are all freaking amazing.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh my
Great
gosh.
to be here.
Thank you for, this is going to be a great show. So everybody make a margarita, sit back, and enjoy this conversation. And please, 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 if you're on Facebook, like, ask questions, join in the conversation. So Treez, take us back. How did sailing first enter your life?
So I had the privilege of living in coastal Massachusetts, Rockport, Massachusetts, from the time I was 8 to 13. And one of the houses that we lived in, I actually looked straight over at the yacht club in town. It was out on a wharf. And I'd watch what the people were doing, putting these things in the water, going sailing, coming back. And then when we got into my parents' house, it was across the street from the water. And I would sit and watch these sailboats, never thinking that I would ever be part of that world. But my last summer in Rockport, I had somebody say, one of my friends, well, come crew with me. So I got on this 10-foot by 5-foot boat with her, and from that day, I was hooked.
She was hooked.
I was hooked.
All right. That's a beautiful, beautiful story. And radio listeners, we have tears flowing already. It's so emotional.
I get very emotional about a lot of things, but especially sailing.
Love that. Love that. And Kasia, for you, was it love at first sail, or did it grow on you?
Yes. I was introduced to sailing by my dad. I was 6 years old. He took me during the really heavy storm to our port in Gdynia, northern Poland. And I saw 6-year-olds popping out in the little opties, up and down on huge waves. And I said, no, absolutely not. 4 years later, my dad took me again on a sailboat that he built on our backyard. He took me to the lake, and it was a whole different way of seeing world from the sailboat. I absolutely fell in love with this. And a couple years later, I followed the sailing back to Gdynia, to the main seaport that we have in the Tri-City, and started sailing as a high schooler. All across the Baltic Sea and the North Sea, and that was it. I can't live without sailing.
Oh, that's really beautiful. So you have grown up sailing in all the places the rest of us dream of going. Like, that's on our bucket list. That was your backyard.
Yes. Absolutely. It was fantastic during the high school. Instead of going out to pubs and bars in the city, we would hop on a sailboat and go across the bay. It's an interesting story. There's in the north side of Poland, there's a big, large bay, Gdańsk Bay, and at the very tip of the peninsula, there's a small town called Hell. So only with one L. But it was a great story. Always on Friday after school, let's go to Hell for a beer. I'm sorry, there's an 18-years-old policy for drinking alcohol in Poland.
Oh, gosh. I love that. And Smita, what was there a moment, I know we just have a few seconds, 30 seconds before we go. Was there a moment that you thought, oh, I'm hooked?
Absolutely. I'm very different from you guys because I did not grow up sailing, did not grow up near the water, and actually learned to swim when I was 10. So I kind of fell into it. I was at Northwestern University going to college, and books were all I was doing. I was a chemical engineer, so I will have to tell you more about it when we come back. But, I will give you more details about how I got hooked on it.
So we are going to circle back to Smita to hear how maybe her story resonates a little bit more with the rest of us, where we didn't grow up around the water and we didn't grow up around that opportunity. So when we come back, we're going to dig in with Smita and some more amazing questions and some more great sailing conversation. So stay tuned. And if you're on Facebook, you get some super awesome content behind the scenes. Okay. When is this? Oh, where's my music? What happened to my music? Okay, I got it. Because I was like, I don't hear what's going on.
That's how it is.
What's happening? So there's supposed to be music that plays in. So
Okay.
I wasn't hearing the music.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we have like a little hiccup there in Facebook Land didn't have the hiccup. We're still live on Facebook. But here in the studio, teeny little hiccup. So anyway, welcome to Live When Things Go Live. So, all right, Facebook. We are here with these amazing women. So we are going to just ask you, Facebook followers, if you have ever been on a sailboat, drop a little sailboat emoji right there in the comments. And if you've never sailed, drop the little eyes, like you're looking around. Drop a little eyes emoji or some other emoji. If you've never sailed, but maybe you're a little bit curious, you've always wanted to try that. So I would love to know how many people watching are actually avid sailors, and and who is just learning or curious, because it's never too late. It's never too late to learn to sail, ever. Right, ladies? Never too late to learn.
Never too late.
Never too
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Never too late to learn to sail. So because we even just started a women in sailing program. And I think I'm probably the youngest, if anyone's listening. Sorry if I'm not, but I think I am. I think I'm the youngest woman.
You can start as young as possible.
I know hosting this month, Colleen Lloyd-Roberts. She doesn't just talk about dreams, she reverse engineers them into real business, real clients, and real impact. Colleen is a multi-business founder, an award-winning speaker, and a Think and Grow Rich coach who has helped people all over the country turn one small idea into a life they can live and be proud of. So sit back, turn up the volume, and get ready for one-on-one with Colleen Lloyd-Roberts. Colleen, the show's all yours. Take it from here.
All right, so we're going to pick up where we left off with Smita. Tell us about, was there a moment where you thought, oh, I'm hooked?
So let me go back to Northwestern, which is right on Lake Michigan. Okay, Lake Michigan always has wind. But I didn't even think about sailing because I was never exposed to it, right? So after taking classes after classes and all that stuff, I needed a break from the books. And I said, okay, what can I do on campus, take advantage of the fact that I'm at Northwestern, and try something different? Looked at all the options, and sailing just said, yeah, that's really different. I should try that. Sounded exciting, adventurous, and all that. So I signed up for it, went out there. This was April of early 80s, and it was cold. Got there with the sailing team on a 420, and they helped rig the boat. Two of us went out. I was the crew. Didn't know anything about sailing. Came back, and I was totally hooked because I was wet. I had already lost a pair of earrings. And, it was 4 hours later. I was like, oh, my God, why do we have to stop? you know. And I really went away with the feeling that I wish I'd discovered it in my freshman year so I could have kept doing it. Unfortunately, I only had about a month and a half left, and I was sailing as much as I could in the last month and a half. And after that, it was just basically finding experiences where I could sail, get on the boat whenever I could, whether it was crewing for somebody else, taking lessons, and all of that. And finally ended up here at Lake Norman, where I could put that into actual action and really sail regularly, not just myself, but my family. And spread the word about sailing because I really wanted to make it easier for a lot of other people because it wasn't that easy for me. I had to buy a boat and I had to join Lake Norman Yacht Club and, really kind of invest in it. So, yeah, that's my story. I mean, you really, once you try it, you can get hooked on it. And I've seen a lot of people get hooked on it pretty quickly, that wind and that water kind of in your face and just excitement of sailing is amazing.
I love that so much. And that's a little bit of what happened to me. I absolutely love that I tried it. And then I was like, oh, this is really, really, really cool. So sailing isn't about controlling the water or the wind because we all know Mother Nature does not relinquish that power, but it's learning to move with the wind. So Kasia, is there something that's almost meditative about sailing?
Absolutely. I'm glad that you mentioned because I also love to meditate first thing in the morning. Just set myself for an amazing day. Yes, when you get on the water and it's a perfect 8 to 10 knots, you just spread the sails and fly. And it doesn't matter if it's a race or if you cruise, the boat feels like it's lifting and it's a feeling of freedom. It's glowing. I glow. I know that I glow when I sail. I love it. I'd love to share that with anybody who ever wants to try. I made sure that both of my girls were exposed to that from the very beginning. I think they were still in diapers and wearing, with pacifiers. And we started slowly, and now they both excellent sailors. One of them is in the high school racing team in the yacht club. I'm very proud of them, and they're fearless and love it.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love that. So, Treez, what happens to you mentally when you're out there under the sail?
Well, when I'm not actually racing, I am just enjoying being on the water and hearing the water under the hull, and that's something that you can't do unless you're on a kayak, a canoe, or a sailboat. That kind of, if you're in a powerboat, you're not going to notice that. But in terms of sailing, for me, I love to sail, but I love to race. And so I get a lot of adrenaline going during every single race. So it's not all just being kind of zen. And there's a lot of frustration involved because I'm not as good a sailor as I want to be, or I'm not progressing in my racing as fast as some of the other people I'm sailing against. But it's I just live for getting out there and challenging myself to be better because I want to get past that next boat.
I love that. And it's such a challenge. I've only been in a couple races, but you're 100% dependent on the wind. And so sometimes trying to get past that other boat is just like, holy moly.
And honestly, half the time, the most rewarding challenge for me is sailing in light air and not very much breeze. Because you have to concentrate even harder in light winds to do that, to get past the next boat. What can I do? Can I get my weight forward? Can I get my weight or my cruise weight down low on the to help change the angle of the boat so that it goes through the water better, or do we need to flatten the boat out? All of that. It's really especially challenging in light air, but it's a whole lot of fun and bigger
wind and bigger wind. Smita, what does sailing give you that nothing else does?
I think it's a way, you mentioned, Treez, that it's constant adjustment. And yes, it's a lot of adjustments, a lot of paying attention to what's around you, the nature, the water, the wind, all that stuff. I spend a lot of time in front of a computer or in meetings or talking to people, and this is so different. It's about being one with being outside. And that whole idea of just disconnecting and feeling it. It's somebody asked me the question just a couple days ago, Saturday, how much math do I need to know? And I said, you don't need to know any math. I mean, it helps to know some angles and things like that. It helps to know how to read the wind and look at the wind forecast, and you should do that. But you don't need the math. Some of the best sailors are people that just kind of feel it. They go out there and feel it. And actually, sometimes I feel like my being an engineer holds me back because I'm thinking too much. What I love is you're there, you're connecting with everything that's around you. And it's just a very different thing than a lot of other things I do in life. That's why I love it.
I love that. I love that because with a power boat, you put the key in, start up the engine, and, away you go. And I mean, yes, all, sailboats have engines too.
Some
but
of them.
It's
some
the
of
wind.
them.
A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
So this is for any of you, all of you. What do people who've never sailed not understand about the experience of harnessing the power of wind, whether it's racing or a lazy drinking social sail?
I think that a lot of people, for one thing, don't understand that they are still in control. Like, we'll get people out in Women on the Water or Everyone on the Water, which are some programs that Lake Norman Yacht Club hosts, and they'll be very nervous, and they'll either get very surprised by the boat heeling, which is tilting, or they'll be okay with that. But then when you ask them to drive, to steer the boat, they'll be kind of deer in the headlights. But actually, one of the ways that I've found is the most efficient and effective for fixing that is, here, take this stick, this tiller, and look over there at, the whatever, it used to be rusty rudder, but then just move that tiller and see what happens. And you see these people go, oh, this isn't that hard. They might turn it a little bit the wrong way, but if you just say, go look at what's over there and try to get there. Yeah. And that's been the fastest thing. But that's the mistake, or not the mistake, but the mistaken opinions are they trying to figure out, can I really do this?
Can I really, like, such beautiful advice, because yes, it seems really intimidating, and it seems like there would be a lot of math and a lot of angles and a lot of, oh my God, it's so intimidating, I think. And to find out that it's really, really, really not that intimidating. So when we come back, more on sailing. Oh, good job. That was brilliant.
What a great music.
Good job. Good job, my ass. That was brilliant. Right on time. Right on cue. We'll be back.
Has it ever happened that you
One other
said
time.
something?
And it was perfect.
That you said something online, on record, thinking that you're off record?
Was there been another time that I said something on record that I was off record?
Yeah, something that you didn't.
You thought that you were off record, but
Yeah.
you
Oh,
were
no,
actually.
no, oh, no, no, no.
I always wanted to ask that question.
No, I don't think so. What? Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah. So anything goes on Facebook Live, just not on the
Gotcha.
radio.
Okay.
But Reese has a button in there that he can hover over and hit it. If some, I haven't messed up like that yet, but I have had an embarrassing moment in my life where I said something I shouldn't. But I'm sure we all have.
Oh,
gosh.
yes.
But I
Long
haven't,
list, long list.
like,
Many times.
I haven't done it. I haven't done it yet on air. So, okay, awesome. So Facebook, I want to hear, I got to get my women especially. Would you try sailing if you had the opportunity to do it? Like drop us a yes. I'm going to go to WSIC News. All right. Drop us a comment. I want to know if you would actually come on Facebook. Oh, Julie. Hey, Julie. Hey, Paul DeMarco is on here.
Ooh, okay.
Thanks, Paul. I love that you're on there. Okay. So if anyone's listening on Facebook, would love to know if this is something that you would try. So, what is one word you would use to describe the feeling of sailing, Smita?
Focus and fun. Yes. I
Love-
use 2 words,
It's
but
okay. Because you're extra like that. Smita.
exactly.
You're extra.
Throw it in.
I love that. Kasia, what's one word you would use to describe the feeling of sailing?
Freedom.
Good word. Excellent. And you, Treez?
Well, the first one that came to mind was elation, but I'm not always elated when I'm sailing. So. But I'm like Smita. I'm an engineer and I overthink things a lot. So. But anyway.
That's good. That's cool. Yeah, when I was first out sailing and another sailor was giving me some advice, but he was teaching me to read currents in the lake and
waves.
look at how the clouds are going. And that was the first time I really did that. Like I'd been out on the lake many times and I never really paid attention to those particular things. And then I started doing that.
Yeah, and that's another thing when we're teaching sailing. What is surprising to people is you can tell that the wind's stronger over there than here.
Yeah.
And we say, yeah, go look see the ripples and see the darker color. And that's been something that people are always surprised that we can do. Some of us can do it
You
a
have
lot
to-
better than others, but
I'm sure with practice, but I don't know. It makes me feel closer somehow, more in communion with the lake now when I'm learning to read, learning to do all that.
And welcome back. This is Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and this is where your business matters. If you just tuned in, and you are in for a treat, because all month long we are being hosted by one of the most impressive people I know, Colleen Lloyd-Roberts. Doesn't just talk about dreams, she reverse engineers them into real business, real clients, and real impact. Please continue to enjoy and experience the skill of Colleen Lloyd-Roberts. Colleen, the show's all yours. Take it from here.
Joe, thank you so much for that introduction. I might have to make that one my ringtone. All right, Smita, what inspired you to found the Lake Norman Community Sailing?
Well, once I came to Lake Norman and I said, I want to have sailing be part of my life. I started looking around and you found a bunch of places. I actually ended up at Lake Norman Yacht Club. Just kind of drove in because the phone number doesn't work. At that time, nobody picked up.
Well, we're an all volunteer club.
That's
so
right. That's right.
Yeah, there's
So
nobody waiting to answer a phone.
That's exactly right. And I drove in and basically found out that I had to join the yacht club and buy a boat and then learn to sail. So I did buy a boat pretty quickly, joined the yacht club, which was great community of people. And they were willing to teach me. But I had to basically, if I wanted some formal training, I had to fly to Florida, go to the coast, those kinds of things. So a lot of investment of time and money. So that was in the late 90s, and great way to start. My kids started learning too. We bought some opties and they joined the junior program and all that stuff. So it was part of our life. But I wanted to make sure that this gem that we have, Lake Norman, is accessible and affordable. It's really not accessible or affordable if you have to buy a boat and join a club to figure out whether you like sailing or, just to try it and learn. And we had no venue for really learning. So that's where the idea was born. And my friend Larry Betez was a big part of that. So with that idea, we started working on it. Took probably about 4 to 5 years to convince everybody, the police, the neighbors, the Parks and Rec system, Duke Power, FERC. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? So finally, 5 years later, in 2008, we got a lot of approvals, we raised money, and we started actually giving sailing lessons and all that in 2009, early 2009. And we've been at it since then. So you can actually be a part of Lake Norman Community Sailing for a little bit more than $1 a day. And you don't have to own a boat. You don't even need a life preserver. Just come in. Kasia, who's been sailing all her life, will be there. She'll help you, make you feel comfortable, get you on the water. And what we've done is actually built a program that starts with, you don't know how to sail, we'll get you started. And then you can learn more and more and even get to chartering in the Caribbean or the Chesapeake, or a bunch of people have become members at the yacht club and they now own boats and they race. So it's really a journey, and you can start the journey at community sailing.
Thank you so much for doing that. I mean, really, you just took that, and that's what we talked about at the very, very beginning about the shifts of happening in industries and hobbies and sports, and that's what you did. You saw a gap and you said, I want to make this available to everybody and put it within reach, and that's what you did. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely.
If I may, community sailing programs have really blossomed throughout the nation, probably in that same time period, the early mid aughts, I guess they call them, and they're still developing now. And that community sailing program model is immensely useful in getting more people out on the water.
That's exactly right. And actually, where you grew up in Massachusetts, Treez, there are some of the best community sailing programs that have been around a lot longer than here. So if you go to the Northeast and even Midwest, like Wisconsin, Michigan, Lake Michigan, there's a bunch of community sailing programs. But here in the Carolinas, we didn't really have any programs at all. So we actually have people, just like Lake Norman Yacht Club, community sailing has people that come, 2 or 3 hours drive and to learn to sail, because there aren't that many programs around. So you're absolutely right. This is a model that's been around, but not in the South. And in the South, it was sorely needed. The place is growing. Lots of people interested in sailing. Lots of young people.
Yes.
Lots of people with kids. Lots of older people that sailed at one time and they want to, get started again.
And lots of women. We just started
Yes.
Women in Sailing at the Peninsula Yacht Club. So there's just this boom of women that, maybe don't want to play cards or don't want to play cards all the time. And they want to just get out on the water and they want to try something different and they want to just do something with other women that is out in nature and on the lake. Like what a beautiful way to do that. Love that. You have, Treez, she got a whole typed up thing. She is prepared. You're my most prepared guest ever. And it says at the top in very big letters, sailing is a small community.
Yep. As we were telling you before we went on air, the three of us all are already friends, and we all belong to Lake Norman Yacht Club. But for example, I went to Chattanooga, Tennessee this past weekend to sail, to race with another woman. We were the only all-woman team there, by the way. But on Friday afternoon, after we had rigged our boat, gotten it ready to go sailing, I was up in one of the boat parking lot, and this guy drives in, and he was talking to some of the other sailors. I kept looking at him. And I'm like, I know that voice. I know that face. Hi, Andrew. This is a guy that used to belong to Lake Norman Yacht Club in the early 90s. He moved to Atlanta, and I used to race with him down there. And then he moved to Idaho, and I think he moved some other places. And he was in this parking lot in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And it turned out he had moved there, and he still sails. And, no matter where we look when we go sailing, we know people. And even if we don't know them yet, we have like experiences. And that's why I focus so much on what a small community it really is, because you can go anywhere and just fall right into, being on somebody's crew or just being with people that like to do the same thing you do. But thankfully we have organizations that help us get started if we don't already have that community. But it's a community that builds very quickly, both with, and I'm going to go ahead and do my plug for
do it.
Multiple programs at Lake Norman Yacht Club. We have a junior sailing camp. We have, which is 1 week a year in June, but does include an adult fleet as part of it. But we also have these programs called Everyone on the Water and Women on the Water. And we have 2 sessions each this summer. And by session, I actually mean a 4-week session that will be May and July for everyone, both male and female, and then focusing specifically on women being introduced to sailing in June and August. So the Community Sailing Center has stuff all the time, bringing new people in all the time, but we have, and again, we're an all-volunteer, well, you guys are mostly volunteer, but an all-volunteer program that we do these 3 programs. So
there's really so much to do, no matter what end of the lake you live on, what part of the lake, if you want to drive around and go and pick where you want to go, or if you just want to stay in your area of the lake, there's really, like, sailing is an opportunity for you, and money, it doesn't have to be an option. You don't have to own a boat, and you don't have to have any friends who are sailors. You can just show up and make friends. Friends on demand. It's better than Facebook. Friends on demand. I love that. So much to do. That's at the Lake Norman Yacht Club and Lake Norman Community Sailing. And we have so much more when we come back after this commercial break. But if you're on Facebook, we've got some special extra content. So stay tuned for our Facebook friends.
12 years strong, Joe Vagnone is still delivering the conversations that count. More Local Biz Now after the break, only on WSIC. Local starts here.
445 to 448. All right. So everybody on Facebook. Oh gosh. Okay, Julie, you're so sweet. You guys now have me singing "Sailing" by Christopher Cross, right? I know, right? Right. When you're dependent on the wind, how do you navigate? That's a really great question. So Julie would like to know, when you're dependent on the wind, how do you navigate? Who wants to take that question?
Well, first of all, you can't go straight into the wind. Okay, so you got to know which way the wind is coming, which is helpful actually when you go back to the dock. But you can navigate by being slightly off the wind, and the angles kind of drive how fast you're going and what the boat sounds like and all of that. You can get very technical with that. But what you do is you go one way off the wind, and then you tack and you go another way off the wind, and eventually you get there. And guess what? If you want to go back, you jibe and you turn around.
So, Julie, I will tell you, in a non-sailor's or a sailor learning kind of way, you kind of zigzag.
That's right.
That's how I learned
That's
it.
right.
You kind of zigzag your way. That's how I learned it. But anyway, Julie, I am going to be taking sailing lessons. If you want to join me, it's going to be really fun. I've got some other women that are joining me too. So you should come on. And I never would have thought off the wind, right? I know, right? Me neither. So it's all about the zig and the zag, Julie. All right. Sunrise or sunset? Everyone on Facebook, drop us a little emoji. Would you rather sail at sunrise, or would you rather sail at sunset? How about you, Treez? Sunrise or sunset?
Well, I don't really like getting up that early, so I'd say sunset.
Sunset. All right.
Although the lake's probably calmer sometimes at sunrise. So, except for the bass boats.
For the bass boats, right. Kasia, sunrise or sunset sail?
I love taking my kids on the boat before the sunset, dropping the sailing for a little bit, and then dropping the anchor and waiting for sunrise somewhere around one of the islands.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. Yes, we have the island girl here in the studio with us. And Smita, sunrise or sunset sail?
I would say sunset, because you can be in the water and enjoy the water and get back on the boat and have a little glass of wine, enjoy the sunset, and it's fun. And things are a little calmer as the sun goes down. You're absolutely right.
I see. Local starts here.
And we're back. She is a multi-business founder, an award-winning speaker, and a co-founder of the impressive digital marketing firm called Monkeys in Hats. So sit back, turn up the volume, and get ready for one and only Colleen Lloyd-Roberts. Colleen, the show's all yours. Take it from here.
Okay, ladies. So what happens when women learn this skill together? Let's talk about girl power here for a minute.
It's empowerment.
That's a good word. That's a good word. My two daughters actually went through the junior program. You've got daughters that are learned to sail too. But when they were teenagers and they had boyfriends, one of the best things is after a little while they would get out on the water and they would be in charge because they were the skippers. The guys usually didn't know anything about sailing. And it was a huge confidence builder. I mean, they basically turned the tables on that relationship. And all of a sudden things are different, you know. So it's very, very empowering. I feel like it's a confidence boost. You know, you're in charge. And you can go where you want, not just on the water, but frankly, in life, because you're just looking at things differently.
Beautiful. Yeah. Confidence. So just such a big confidence booster because
Yeah.
you feel confident that you can control this boat and you can get it where you want it to go. And you're in control, which is a big thing for women, I think, especially whether it's business or personal, just to know that we can do this.
And I have to agree with Treez. once in a while, it just feels so good to cross the finish line before a few guys.
Definitely.
No, well, you know what? We've been all really about girl power, which Joe is probably rolling his eyes right now, going, "Great, a whole month of girl power on my radio show." But Joe, that's what you get. Okay, so why do you think women feel intimidated to try it, and what advice would any of you have to a woman who is like, "Oh, I'd really like to try that, but I still feel intimidated about it"?
Come over to community sailing. We'll teach you from the very beginning. We'll walk you through the first few steps until the moment when you feel comfortable sailing with another crew member, with a partner, as well as comfortable to take boat completely by yourself. I can guarantee it.
And you've got several female instructors at Lake Norman Community Sailing. I met them.
Yes, yes, they're all fantastic. Both ladies and guys, they're very supportive, and they all volunteers. They come because they love sharing knowledge of sailing.
And let's talk about racing for a moment. So, what advice? Just tell us about racing, the thrill of racing, the thrill. I think you've all been involved. We've got racing on Lake Norman, but you are the Commodore of the Southern Atlantic Yacht Racing Association. Did I get it right?
Almost. South Atlantic Yacht Racing Association. We also call it SAYRA. SAYRA.
Okay.
But and South Atlantic Yacht Racing Association is actually it's not like a club. It's not a marina. It's an organization that helps community sailing programs and all volunteer sailing clubs and yacht clubs that are sort of parts of a marina or any kind of sailing organization can be a member of SAYRA, and we help with organizing we coordinate a calendar. We don't really coordinate, but we'll post all of the events in the 3 states by member organizations. But we also help to organize training for the level 1 instructors, the basic sailing instructors that do the sailing camps throughout the Southeast. And in order to race, back on the racing point, you also have to have people running or organizing the racing, whether that means just creating this thing called a notice of race that outlines the guidelines, what are what's the calendar, how many races, all that stuff, but also out on the water, figuring out, the wind is coming from the southwest today, which it usually is at Lake Norman. But if it's from the southwest, then we have to be able to set marks out, that marks being buoys that we would round in order to get around a course in the least amount of time possible. Or on Lake Norman in particular, we have some permanent marks that we can set a course for, and that but all that takes a fair amount of knowledge, but also you want those people to be cognizant of the weather, and are we putting people out there safely, and all that kind of stuff. So we have these people called certified race officers, and so SAYRA helps to make sure people know that there's a class at Columbia Sailing Club or at Lake Norman Yacht Club or Charleston Yacht Club, Carolina Yacht Club, North Carolina, which, by the way, they go by CYC 1853 because they are the oldest incorporated yacht club in the Southeast or in North Carolina or something. But anyway, so, and then we have also, everything doesn't always go right on the race course. So we also have judging, that we'd have training for judges so that they can hopefully settle differences of opinion amicably.
It was very politely said.
That
Usually it's a red flag in the area.
Protest! So just like football, you can have
Yeah.
they have red flags in sailing.
That's
You're
right.
like, I'm
That's
gonna,
right.
I don't know, that doesn't look right. I don't think that's allowed.
Yeah.
Well, there's a more friendlier version of racing. I would say not as competitive at community sailing, which is really, and the other benefit for racing, at least having some marks set up, is you can follow other people and learn from them to say, oh, he's ahead. How is he doing it? And then that helps you because you're all going to the same place.
And
So that's another benefit of racing.
that same
Yeah,
place
yeah.
being very
buoy.
important because
Yeah.
it's if you're just out on the water, and I used to do this since I used to sail out of Ramsey Creek Park. If you're just out on the water, if you don't have a target, you don't know how well you're doing.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
it is really important to even when you're just learning to sail, to pick something.
a target.
Anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the courses that you guys do helps with
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that after all of the social sailing that we have both on Wednesdays and Saturdays and a community sailing, we have a little hanging out time to chit chat and talk about it, to who did what, compare strategies, and learn from the best. And they're very helpful, and they're trying to always share their knowledge with those who are beginners racers. And the same goes for the Lake Norman Yacht Club. I think one of the most fun races are the series races are on Thursdays. We just started last week, and it's a lot of great time. Probably the most boats are on the water on Thursdays, and then we have a nice grill afterwards and chit chat and catch up on how did you do so well?
Yeah, and on Thursdays, that's actually open to everybody that is, that wants to participate, that has a qualifying boat on Lake Norman.
Yeah.
It's not just a Lake Norman Yacht Club event.
Love that. So there's so many opportunities for racing on the lake, whether you have a boat or you don't have a boat, if you just want to crew or you just want to, get involved. There are just so many opportunities, really almost like no excuses. If you've ever wanted to learn how to sail or race, like now is the time, this is the place. So do you ladies have anything else, like any programs, anything else that you want to plug during this show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I've got my list here.
She's got a list. Go for it.
I didn't read the notes ahead of time, but I made my own notes ahead of time. So I just wanted to mention that this weekend, anybody that wants to get out on the water that can, or watch from shore, we have the 26th annual Lake Norman Hospice Regatta, which benefits via Health Partners, which used to be Hospice and Palliative Care Lake Norman and Hospice and Palliative Care Charlotte, et cetera. But that is just a great event, and we have it's a huge fundraiser. So we have a dinner, and we have silent and live auctions. And then the other one I wanted to point out is Lake Norman Community Sailing has a fundraiser every year in September that has an auction format, a raffle, and also is a dinner. But that's their big fundraiser that they do hosted at Lake Norman Yacht Club.
And tomorrow we're starting with a new program, fun day sailing for everybody. I mentioned a little bit about the social sail racing for beginners, and now we're trying to open up more programs to everyone who wants to, in a more casual way, spend time and polish up their skills sailing.
Fantastic. So if you've ever wanted to sail, if you've ever felt the pull to try something new, something outside your comfort zone, maybe this is your moment. So sailing just isn't about boats, it's about friends and community, and I will see you on the lake.
WSIC 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, and 1400 AM. Statesville, Lake Norman's home for talk radio. WSIC. Local starts here.